Hello everyone, in today's video we will look into the IGN article which further exposes the Intellivision Amico's controller issues. The Intellivision Amico has had a really difficult time attracting any attention from the large gaming sites since the original launch trailer 3 years ago. In today's poop storm, the IGN Middle East site released a negative hands-on report of their time playing the Amico. The AmicoGames.com and the only active Amico subreddit, which is Intellivision_Amico, posted the article which rattled the feathers of Intellivision. Immediately Tallarico went on the defense and took shots at members of the subreddit and appears to have contacted the IGN site to change the wording. Thankfully I was able to capture the original article and will display it on the screen right now. Feel free for anyone else wanting to take screen captures or to rip the video to use for your own breakdown on the original article that was published. I will go over the article first and then provide the response from Tallarico with screen captures of the hilariously bad response to the criticisms. The article starts off introducing the console with how it is being helmed by veteran music composer Tallarico and how it is aiming for an affordable family-focused console. The IGN article then states that the price tag puts it right against the Nintendo Switch, which also has tremendous appeal among younger players. This being the first knock on the system, saying that Nintendo already does this at the same price. They mentioned that they were shown an alpha version of the console, but they wagered that not a lot would be changed before the final release. The close-up pictures of the console show that it is the latest version and that it does have some rough edges in the plastics on the console. The controller does visually appear to be the same as the final renderings. IGN then says that the console is extremely light, and the reason for this could be that the Amico doesn't feature cutting-edge technology. To quote them, "The games that we saw featured sharp visuals, but they would be nothing your mobile phone would not be able to handle." This is the second shot that they took, making it clear that the console is weak. They go over the controllers, making mention that they are similar to holding a bar of soap, and go over the controller's features. They played the same games which we have seen before and explained that each of the games used the touchscreen in different ways. In Shark you can use the touchscreen to change the color of the LED. The big phrase in which Tommy complained and had the author of the article change is the following: "Due to the use of a resistive touchscreen, it didn't feel quite as responsive to the touch as capacitive touchscreens would, but further improvements are to be expected in the retail units." This is the third negative and a huge red flag for anyone reading about the product. While the author of the article was incorrect in the type of the touchscreen that was being used, it still is a completely damaging blow to the Amico, in which yet another source has brought up the issues with the controller and the lack of it being responsive. To show proof of the author's claim, he posted a video of him navigating the menus using the touchscreen in Shark. Watch him click the check mark on the main menu. The button does highlight white as soon as he touches it, and he waits a while and nothing happens. He then has to press it a second time and waits a bit more before it proceeds to the next menu. He selects a fish and different colors. The colors on the LED change instantly, but the screen doesn't update until afterwards. The video is overwhelming evidence that the controller is having serious issues. Go grab your phone now and look at how fast your phone responds to your touchscreen presses. This is a serious issue which will only compound when you factor in the controller lag with the disc and buttons when playing the actual game. It is also odd that the representative of Intellivision wouldn't have clarified the type of touchscreen being used and why they wouldn't have clarified the next paragraph in regards to the RFID. It made it seem like you could use credit cards with a tap to buy games easily. The article ends with the release date and the different colors available of the system. You would think that Intellivision would have provided the journalist with the console specs and the details. The article, which highlighted more negatives than positives, is not a great start for their entrance to mainstream gaming sites. IGN Middle East isn't a jabroni small-time YouTube channel with only a few hundred views. As you can see, they get a large amount of visitors, and when anyone does a Google search using Intellivision Amico IGN, it brings up this article. Now for the drama. To start this off, the Intellivision Amico official YouTube channel had shown them hand-making consoles to send out to locations around the globe. Tallarico had also made mention of sending a unit to Dubai, and when I posted on the subreddit he did confirm that the hardware was shipped but that the firmware which was loaded on the machines were out of date. As you can read the responses from Tommy, he says that they are 3 firmware builds behind on hardware and 7 firmware builds behind on the controller. How does any of this make any sense? Why wouldn't the staff at the California office when assembling the console and controller load the latest version of the firmware? How lazy would it be for them to cobble together the equipment and ship them off knowing that the versions were extremely out of date? With all the controversy and the sensitivity as shown in how Tommy forced the shills like Cyrus and Brett to bring up the controller lag in their dishonest reviews of the system, you would think that a small company like Intellivision would ensure that all of their marketing offices would be running and displaying their systems at its absolute best. I've worked in information technology for many years, and on a small company with such a small team it is unbelievable to think that they wouldn't have demo units being on the best and most reliable build. That there wouldn't have been communication between the satellite office in Dubai with the home office in California. It would be unfathomable to think that the biggest game site in doing an article wouldn't have been a huge deal for the company and that they wouldn't have prepared to show the system at its best. Tommy downplaying and saying it was just a casual reveal and wasn't a big deal is insane. In other companies people would be fired for showing off old builds that were incomplete and which made the product look terrible. No matter how this is spun, the company looks absolutely terrible in any direction that they go. Tommy may have had the article edited, but he won't be able to keep the facade forever, and once people get this in their hands it'll be game over. To sum up the last year, this is what we know based on what we have been shown and what we have read. A Strozmash is shown and it appears to have controller lag. Finnegan Fox is shown and Pattern Ian, Geek Getaway, Leo DS and more show blatant controller lag where Tommy's inputs are completely off-timed with what's happening on the screen. The Texas Museum event is shown and Rigid Force has controller lag and the controller seems to lose complete connectivity. Tommy is shown shaking the controller when the guy in the red checkered shirt can't seem to get the controller to respond. Dynabomber is shown with terrible lag where the character's movement is visually delayed from the inputs. Brett Weiss is playing Moon Patrol and is struggling mightily, which either indicates that he's terrible at games or perhaps controller lag since the game requires precision jumps. Now an unbiased game journalist claims the controller has issues with responsiveness. Tommy has made many excuses and blaming other factors such as trolling a YouTube channel, old firmware revisions, that what people are seeing on the video is not the truth and that we should take his word instead. To quote Judge Judy,
"That doesn't make sense, and if something doesn't make sense, it's not true."
Now Tommy is attacking Leo DS and is in desperation mode throwing all sorts of poop on the wall hoping something will stick, and if you watch Leo's channel it will go into detail with just how low and pathetic it is getting. This would be a great case example of someone following the stereotype of a man-child and just how one person can self-destruct by constant lies. By having an ego so large that it prevents them from having any humility in how they can keep digging themselves into a larger hole. I can't wait to see what the North American IGN or any of the North American gaming sites will have to say if they even ever do decide to cover the Amico. Now for a bonus part of the video. I will quickly go over the IGN US comments from 2 years ago when the system was first announced and people at that time thought it was only going to be $150 to $180. It appears from day one that people thought this was a terrible idea. Price is too high. Terrible selling points. Someone thought it was an April's Fool joke. Trash, console looks dumb. No kids will want this. Tommy is out of touch. Out of touch, waste of money and nobody wants this. A disaster. Going to bankrupt fast. Price again for asteroids. Who would want to play this? Dead on arrival. Not a fan of Tommy. Who cares about Intellivision as a brand? Tommy or Relic Gamer appears in comments. People then bag on him. Stupid idea. Great comparison. Another great comment. Flopbox lol. Another comment saying original Intellivision sucks. Thinks the barriers of entry are bad idea. DOA price again, and remember this was when it was at $150. It's almost double now. First Nokia phone reference joke. Friends will hate you. Leapfrog. See my video about Leapfrog Leap TV, it's good. Nintendo equals better. See my video about Nintendo and its awesome couch co-op selection. Tommy really thought people would be duped into believing that current consoles are hardcore and don't offer local multiplayer. Console is ugly. Intellivision is too old for nostalgia. Tablet's a much better value argument. Price. Another April Fool's Day joke reference. Potato graphics. Ugly console. Footh bath massager reference number 1. Many more were to come. Ugly console times 2. Dead on arrival. Bad controller. And finally, what many people think, a terribly designed console and a terrible idea in which people are laughing at it. That's all that I have for today. If you enjoyed the video, leave comments, subscribe, and stay tuned for even more funny videos involving the Gong Show of the Intellivision Amico and more.
That's right. Channel 81 on your FM dial. And I want you just to take your hand and turn the volume real loud. I don't want to have to be